Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the transnational seminar, Erasmus Plus and Green Jobs. It's a pleasure for me to be here. It's a great honor to moderate this important event. Today, we celebrate the European Vocational Skills Week, an event that brings together teachers, organizations, students, and trainers. The initiative, launched in 2016, will focus on the value of vocational training, and in particular, the opportunities offered by green jobs and the green transition. I would like to introduce the first guest of the session, Dr. Ismene Tramontano, Director Erasmus Plus Inapp National Agency. Tramontano, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Barbara. A special thank and a warm welcome to our European colleagues. Thank you for coming. Also on behalf of our General Director, Inapp General Director, Mr. Grillo, and on behalf of the National Authority for the Italian VET System Ministry of Labour. Welcome and thank you all for being here today to attend this transnational seminar, Erasmus Plus and Green Jobs, that marks the opening of the VET Skills Week, that celebrates, as Barbara said, the value of vocational education and training. In particular, the 2022 here, Vocational Skills Week, celebrates the 35th anniversary of the Erasmus Plus program. And as well as, that this year is the year of youth. It represents, in our opinion, the better context to explore the results achieved through the years by the Erasmus program, with a specific attention this year to the contribution of the program to climate issues, with a view to an ambitious view to achieving the goals of the European Green Deal. I hope that the seminar will prove useful to all of you, of course, through the exchange of tools, methods, and also best practices in this field. In particular, you know that the seminar will focus on green employment, addressing the skilling and the reskilling of workers, and the anticipation of the changes in the workplaces in the future, and you know that there will be. And one of the means to achieve this goal will be the exchanges of good practices. So thank you for presenting your practices. I am now happy and honored to pass the floor to my colleague Andrea Ricci, who will introduce the theme of the seminar, Erasmus Plus and Green Jobs. And again, I take this opportunity to thank you and to wish you all a fruitful seminar. And the floor is for Andrea and then yours.
Yeah, thank you.
You have to push.
Okay. Thank you. It's a pleasure for me too to be here in discussing such a key question about our future. That is to say, the impact of ecological transition in labor market perspective, or younger cohort, or more in general for the perspective of economic growth and social inclusion in our countries. Especially what we are going to discuss is a short summary of Inapp research agenda on green jobs. And in particular, what the research unit that I have the honor to coordinate in Inapp, denoted firms and labor on such key issues. In recent years, we have done the following technical aspect of the relation between green transition and labor market. The technical aspect consists of merging information about the career of individuals on the labor market and the firm's investment in energy, in green investment, and so on, to infer future perspective about the what we expect by the next generation EU funds for the next few years. That's all. That's all about the summary of our presentation, and the slide that will be presented in Italian tell us some statistical and economic implication of the analysis we have developed in the last 2 years in Inapp and in other academic and institutional concern. Okay. Could you translate in English? Okay.
Very well. For the sake of time, I'm going to briefly introduce about 10 slides, not more, that summarize, as I previously said, our work in Inapp over the recent years, trying to merge the outcomes of the changes on the labor market in a green perspective, and the role and the expectations of those who in the vocational world are focusing their living expectations, so the quality of occupation in this green working sector, if these green jobs do provide a better perspective for those who are working in this field compared to traditional sectors. So if these green jobs are just a mandate to change the sustainability of our better living for the future, also have a greater financial value and not only a career perspective, but rather reducing the risk of unemployment, increasing occupation rates with good job returns and the capacities of investment for the country that through the fiscal leverage coming out of the financial growth can also get the necessary resources to compensate all the inclusion costs, having a better view of circular and sustainable development. So my presentation is articulated into 3 parts. First, a very short introduction of what the recovery plan is stating in terms of resources for the green transition ecological revolution chapter. The second is the summary of the outcomes we have got here in Inapp, supported by researchers who helped us, who are verifying for the first time our know-how in Italy, what it means to be involved in green jobs. The effort we made, we are a team of economists, statistics, econometric experts, so we didn't question the words or the terminology or the goals, but rather we wanted to verify if the facts, the results were in line with the objectives. Now we have an open debate to understand whether the ecological transition would imply in the short run a destruction, a decrease in jobs, so a greater wage dispersion and social issues. So we wanted to verify the validity of these goals. And finally, the part that maybe concerns us more as insiders, which are the policies to promote this transition, hoping that in the short run it is a positive transition, and if not, which adjustments should be introduced. As you know, the recovery plan is allocating very important resources in the ecological transition, financial resources, and also strategic assets. These are mainly four, the main pillars of this recovery plan for the energy transition and ecological and social and economic transition, so investments, projects that are financed in sustainable agriculture and circular economy. Those of you in Rome, you know what it means, circular economy, if you think at waste management and waste recycle problems we have in the city, and then renewables, the use of hydrogen, sustainable mobility, energy efficiency. As we talked with Mrs. Milucci briefly yesterday, the change in the civil infrastructures, we talk a lot about the eco bonus and so on. And last but not least, at least for a country like Italy, we are at a very strong risk of hydrogeological issues, so the protection of soil, water resources, and so on. Let's go straight to the core. Inapp is a public research body of SISTA, the National Statistics System, and so we gather and monitor and analyze data on a wide range of information on companies, workers, investments. So we have collected for this specific task to identify green jobs, also data on professions, qualifications, and public tenders to cover a wide range of issues, because usually, in general, in the new economic phenomena, we cannot state a lot. So we have used a mathematical rule that states that you have to demonstrate the contrary of a given statement. So we wanted really to verify according to the information resources we had available. These information sources were four mainly: the Atlas of Work and Qualification. As you probably know, it's a tool, an IT descriptive tool that defines and identifies. I apologize with the colleagues of Atlas if I'm not explaining that properly enough. Anyway, it identifies the qualifications, tasks that are used in the different jobs, in the different professional positions. So this tool of the Work and Qualification Atlas is providing us with some contents as for the nature of the job that is performed. And so in this case, we have identified the categories of professions, the working processes, the different steps, of the activities, and so on. I would like to go on quickly because, yeah, of course, you can access the slide deck for more detailed information. So we have integrated this database of Atlas with what is in general defined as green job. So in strict terms, hybrid or perspective. In strict terms, this means engineers like engineers who are engaged in solar energy and perspective, or hybrid could be a gardener who has evolving tasks. There are the tasks that regard the electric mobility supply chain and so on, but I don't want to go into the detail of that. What I think that is interesting is that we have identified the professions that usually regard the whole energy, renewable supply chain of circular economy, agriculture, sustainable farming, and all the items that have already been identified in the recovery plan. Of course, by law, in perspective, and instead we have identified the qualifications, the tasks, and the nature of these jobs. And we wanted to verify whether this kind of green jobs actually could lead to better employment perspectives compared to traditional jobs. So all in all, I want to be really quick when I draw the conclusions, and I hope that it's going to be shared and agreed upon also by you. Anyway, the outcomes of the research are public, and you have the references if you want to go more in depth. We have performed 3 exercises. We have analyzed the information and the content, the nature of green job with a statistic reporting system. It's a system that for Italy gathers all the information about hiring and conclusion of jobs. So we verified if employed persons who were employed in what can be defined a green job, we wanted to verify if they had a higher probability of occupation, a better perspective of employment, if it was stable or qualified and paid better compared to those who were not employed in green jobs. So we have integrated this data, these different IT sources, which are administrative sources with very low rate of errors, because there are millions and millions of observations coming from the ministry. And so every time a company hires or dismisses a job, it is reported. So we have integrated this data, and this is a more consolidated work of 2017-2019, but we are going to update these figures as soon as possible. It's up to 2020, so it is consolidating the results that I will introduce to you. So we have defined, according to a very detailed definition, the green jobs, meaning full green, hybrid green, and go green. As I said, meaning the strongly green jobs, the hybrid ones, and those were going to be considered green jobs, which are those jobs who traditionally were performed, for example, in the building sector, and now with the eco bonus, they're going to be transformed gradually in environmentally sustainable jobs. So for this specific case of green investments, of the new building processes with cement or others, we're not that concerned in this. But anyway, we are focused on the green qualifications, meaning those workers who are involved in insulating buildings. For example, if they have a specific qualification for energy savings or to introduce new techniques that were not introduced in the past traditionally to reduce footprint or pollution in buildings and so on. So what's the measure by which we define the quality of a job? That's a measure that, of course, anyone who is experienced in the labor market can easily understand. It's very important to get the number of working hours in the same company during the same year. This parameter is telling us if the job is stable, it's a good job, if the entrepreneur is interested in investing in these human resources, and if it is long-lasting. This means that this job is going to have an impact on a greater profitability of the company and the wage for the worker. So according to this data, we have performed empirical analysis. Now I'm going to skip the results for the sake of time. But I didn't want to turn it off, actually.
Just raise your hands. There is a microphone. Any question from the audience? Ti possiamo interrompere just a moment? So.
Yes.
Okay, please.
Yes.
Over to you, Cam. Okay.
Andrea.
If you want, you can use the word.
In Italiano, va bene in English? Okay. Good morning. I am Andrea, and I work in a society of environmental consultancy. So we work with the European, with the green skills. We deal with the biodiversity. And the point is, you said about the stability of the job and the welfare of the worker. So in Italy right now, in this kind of work situation, it's not easy to have, a long-term view of job, because it's not stable. You work with commitment, specific commitment. So is there a possibility that this kind of job will be more stable?
Okay. We are going to show that.
Okay.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Thank you for your contribution. Please.
Okay.
Yes, that's the answer. Those who, for that period of time, that can be extended up to 2010 and 2020, but we have not introduced here the data. So those who are engaged in a core green job, all in all, they have from 17 working days to at least 1 working day more compared to those who are not in a green job. This range, that might seem huge, 17 working days up to 1 working day. I'm sorry if I'm talking with a very low profile. Anyway, these working days mean wages, working perspectives. It's not rhetorical. These are the first figures in green jobs in Italy. So we have to exactly understand what's the scope of this quantitative phenomenon, and then we can infer political or theoretical implications. So this, all in all, is an ongoing research, but it's done on 18 million observations. So it's not done on survey data or interviews. These are real administrative data. Of course, we can optimize the analytics, or maybe there can be some mistakes, but these are not perceptive data. Anyway, we know that currently, in that period of time, those who had a green job could have 17 working days more compared to those who are not employed in green jobs. Then, if we included in the analysis also the sectorial specialization and the level of education and training of the worker, if it's male or female, the level of education, if they have a specific field of study in engineering or humanistic disciplines, with these further parameters on average, nationally, the advantage of being employed in green job was almost disappearing compared to traditional jobs. It was about 1 day more, 1 working day more per year in the same company. So keeping into account all this data, currently in Italy, green jobs would not guarantee better working conditions qualitatively and quantitatively compared to traditional jobs. But then we wanted to go more in the detail of this observation. That working day in the whole national system, keeping into account all the parameters, are there some specificities? Is there a specific profile that makes a difference? And so we wanted to verify if this lack of advantages of green jobs was due actually to the sectorial heterogeneity of data. So we found that the benefit of working in green job is concentrated especially in the agricultural sector. So farming, compared to 30 years ago when it was really lagging behind, now it's a driver for technological innovation in the green supply chains. As a matter of fact, the advantage of belonging to a green supply chain, which means that we are no longer picking tomatoes by hand, but there is a technological supply chain in different clusters on the territory. So it's 41 working days more. So it's a lot of money. I don't want to say something wrong, but it could be a couple of thousands of euros per month more in Italy, so per job. So the benefit of having a green job is especially focused also in private social services. This means education, training, non-public social services, the third sector. And this is interesting to notice because it means that there is a gradual integration between what we call in general ecological change of production processes and economy and the pillars of the sectors of social inclusion. I don't want to go into detail, but maybe that's the most interesting item of all the results because it is cross-referencing two items of the recovery plan, Mission 2 and Mission 5 on green transition and social inclusion at work on the job market. So social inclusion is an occupational enabler and it promotes an ecological change in economy. On the other hand, up to a couple of years ago, before the eco-bonus, green jobs were penalized in the sector of because it was paradoxically the sector that was hindering the ecological change of production processes at that time. So the eco-bonus right now is not providing results yet, but there is a change in behaviors, in practices in this sector that at the beginning was hindering the change. And then we have another issue with public utilities, waste management and recycling, public water resources management, and Rome, of course, is a city that has lots of these issues. And so technological change and green change was having problems because the local public utilities had not tackled yet up to 2018 the problem of requalifying jobs into green jobs. And this was a paradox to us because we would expect that farming and public utilities to be the very first sectors to intervene in this supply chain, waste, burning, and all the problems we have in this sector. Anyway, the most important item today is Erasmus, because these results are telling us that at the national level as well, green jobs are driving a higher perspective in occupation if they are performed by graduated people. This means that the qualifications that are associated with the ecological change in economy, this requires a high level of qualification. So the level of education and the quality of the field of study plays a role and is connected with the capacity of a green job to induce higher wages, a higher level of employment, the quality of occupation, productivity, and social inclusion. I was talking with Mrs. Millucci yesterday, and we wanted to see where these green jobs were concentrated. And this is the result. So without talking a lot on the sectorial analysis, anyway, we have benchmarked the distribution on the territory. And so where the full and hybrid green jobs concentrated, those which have a higher level of technological change in the Italian regions. So I don't want to go too long on this. Anyway, green jobs were especially concentrated in Liguria, along the Apennine region, Molise, Umbria, Emilia-Romagna, and Abruzzo, up to Calabria. What do they have in common? In Liguria, you have lots of floods, in the Apennine earthquakes, and in Calabria, the protection of forests. So the green policies in our country before the Next Generation EU was concentrated on environmental disasters. And so the green jobs, green job qualifications were dictated by the natural emergencies in Genoa, Liguria, when there were river floods, or along the Apennine Mountains, Molise, Abruzzo, and in part Umbria were involved. And Calabria, that always ranks last in the development indexes. Instead, here it ranks among the first ones due to the role of forestry protection. So these are just general slides, but if you want to go to get more scientific insights, we have lots of public reports available So now I've just tried to convey to you the meaning that I've got as a researcher through this data, and this refers to 2018. And then we have done a further focus.
So instead of green jobs, here we have an agreement. This study was carried out by Valentina Ferri, colleague, on electrical mobility, which is one of the most important items of the Next Generation EU. Also, because it involves the automotive sector, where the green innovation is probably more advanced. So we studied this for a very long period between 2011 to 2019, and we tried to understand whether the specific index for the ecological transition, as is the electrical mobility, and also infrastructural changes, well, we tried to understand whether these elements also brought about a better job opportunities, because of course this is not given in the sense that it is the transition that will bring about the destruction or creation of new jobs. Of course, we all know that the Green Deal is the future of the society. However, the point is the transition between T to T+1, will it lead to a worsening, to social worsening, will it lead to a destruction of jobs, will it lead to social problems or not? So in this case, we compared 2011 and 2019, and we saw that those that were involved in the electric mobility industry had lower opportunities to find a full-time job. So electrical mobility, as one of the elements of the ecological transition of productive processes, also in this case gave more stability. So the message also in this case is that the transition is underway. It is very slow but steady, and it seems to be very positive. How can we, however, accelerate the transition? Because we saw that the transition also brings with it social advantages, and not only advantages in terms of sustainability. So the main tool in market economy are two. So private investments by companies or public investment by the central, local, or municipal level. And the recovery plan has put a strong emphasis on funding investment projects relative to energetic transition at the local level, as we saw in the previous slides. Because first of all, there is the problem of the hydrogeological erosion of the territory, and we have seen that this can be transformed into an opportunity for more jobs, for more green jobs. And these jobs, of course, mean that there will be higher production, there will be more young people employed, and so on. So we tried to understand how the recovery plan can act as a leverage for a greener, productive system in Italy. So we tried to consider this, and we tried to understand how qualified young people can find and can be employed in greener jobs. Now, these two maps, compare the share of money, the amount of money, the amount of euros per capita spent by Italian municipal cities in public works. Public works for the provision of services, for the provision of goods, but also for the creation of infrastructures. This also concerns infrastructural funds. So these are public procurement projects. If we start from 2011, so the darker the spot, the more public money was invested per capita. The lighter the color, the blue, the fewer the investments. So it is self-evident that between 2011 and 2019, in general, the investment, municipal investment, has basically disappeared in the center and south of Italy, because all the regions in the center and south of Italy in 2019 were basically white. That concentration that you see on the Apennines between 2010 and 2011 is also due to the Reggio Emilia earthquake. So, and what does it mean? It means that the main tool that should be the leverage for the ecological transition of the economy, which means public procurement initiatives in general, but also local procurement, did not actually encourage this transition, especially in southern Italy, where green jobs have more potential because they can generate more inclusion and more employment. And the fact that there are very few investments in the south means not only that there are not many public investments focusing on ecological transition, on the ecological transition in those places, but it also means that there is not the possibility to monitor and to accompany these investments on these specific items. So, to conclude, I simply wanted to give you a general picture based on the analysis that we developed. Now, this is something new for the economy, for the society. There is everything is connected, so workers, enterprises, local administrations, public investment, public procurement, they all have to collaborate. We have to go beyond the silo mentality, and we have to work for more inclusion, and we need to provide more jobs, especially for educated youth. And we must do that on the basis of a process that over the past 10 years has not gone into this direction. So our challenge is that thanks to the recovery plan, we will manage to activate those mechanisms that weakened over the past 10 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ricci, for your speech. I have just a question for you. According to what you said before, companies and public administration always realize the importance of green job after disasters. How can we reverse this tendency? How is possible?
Of course, I have no clear answer, but this is what I think about that. Yeah, allora, first of all, what we need is public employees, bureaucrats, and so on, with competencies and education that match with the New Deal. With the New Deal, uninteresting statistics some years ago tell us that the level, the age, the average age and the average education level of public employees in Italy, probably due to the block of turnover in 1993, is lower than the rest of the other European countries. This is the first fact to be that has been considered. The second one is a strategic vision, in the sense in Italy the common practices is that each economic agent, workers, firms, institution, and workers representatives and firms representatives act and behave as an entity independent each other. This is possible when the economic process is traditional, when the economy is not subject to a structural break. In this case, the Green New Deal is a structural break. A structural break implies a drastic change in the brain of economic agent, and in a general vision of political economy that allow this agenda to interact each other in a cooperative manner and not in a competitive manner, to extract the rents and so on, to follow an idea of competitiveness that exploit the lowering of labor costs rather than maximizing the value of productive processes.
Another curiosity, in your table, why Molise and Lombardia have the same score, 9.7? Yeah.
Molise and Lombardia
Hanno lo stesso punteggio, 9.7.
They have the same score.
but in
the second table.
for the general statistics or for okay.
Yeah,
These?
the blue one, yeah, the blue line.
Ok, allora.
It's interesting, it's the same.
Ok, allora, Molise and
That's Italy.
Molise and Lombardia are two extreme cases. Allora, the density of green jobs in Molise is probably due to the earthquakes. While in Lombardy is that Lombardy is the region with more advanced in our country. Quindi.
Okay.
I have a question for, please.
But the meaning is the follow. Green jobs in Molise or Abruzzi are due to natural events, while in Lombardy are the consequence of natural economic processes, public or private.
Infatti
And in fact, the question is exactly this for Andrea. Well, first of all, Andrea, thank you for your clarity and also for the added values that you give to our events and to all the efforts that we put in place as an agency, because we really want to be active also in the research field. So thank you for all your efforts, Andrea. From what you shared, I understood that the challenge for us will be to move away from a response to emergencies through green jobs, but we should move towards an investment in green jobs. So I think that also thanks to the research work that we have conducted in order to employ the recovery plan, we have seen that probably this is the right time to embrace this transition. So I would like to highlight 2 points, and you should tell me whether I understood correctly what you meant to share with us. I think that it is difficult to make any, any forecasts. Maybe during the coffee break, we will explain what the Atlante dei Mestieri is all about. But I think that it will be also difficult to understand what the new green jobs will be, in the sense that we do not know what sort of skills will be required in the future. However, these green jobs probably will be the result of a bottom-up process. Is that what you told us?
Allora, per rispondere e dire se è vero quello che hai capito.
Well, in order to respond, and in order to tell you if you understood what I meant, well, I should say that I must first of all be sure that I understood what you said. Well, the first thing is only apparently connected and indirectly connected to what you said is what follows. So we're talking about Erasmus Plus, we're talking about young people. I come from Umbria, which is a region that was hit by an important earthquake in 1997. Now, this terrible earthquake was also an opportunity. Well, of course, I will not, describe certain aspects of the earthquake, but it was an opportunity to restore many of the old towns and villages of Umbria, because many of these old villages were totally refurbished. All the new streets were paved, and now Umbria is one of the regions that is one of the most touristy regions in Italy. Before the earthquake, it didn't have this potential. So this possibility to create this ecological tourist market, a tourist market 4.0, or means also entailed more job opportunities for young people, and this also required new professions, new jobs. Now, I want to be very practical in my answer. So, in that case, nothing was coordinated, everything was very spontaneous, but now we have the chance, the opportunity to follow a mid-term logic, a long-term logic that also involves several skilling and reskilling opportunities. What I learned during these past few years on data analysis is this, and I realized that this topic is not maybe one of the best topics, one of the most popular topics. However, often in my professional life, I have seen, for instance, companies that look for a specific skill. So job opportunities, at least in a country like Italy, do not always entail job supply, meaning that we should not. The Green Deal is an incredible change because it will bring about changes in behavior in the system and so on. But we really have to be very, very careful, because the subject of this change of the Green Deal are companies that create green jobs, and it's not the people who have green skills, because people with green skills, if they cannot find a green job, they will go back to doing a job that is traditional in nature. And this means also will the Italian productive system that is characterized by small and medium enterprises that are specialized in sectors that are still, on average, technologically mature. And unfortunately, these companies are managed by the oldest and less educated managers in Europe. I mean, they have a short vision. They are short-sighted. Italian managers, who are mostly men, are short-sighted. Let me make an example. A person who's 80 years old has an investment perspective that will not produce any return in the future in the next 10 years, because probably that person will be dead in 10 years' time. So it is very likely that an investor with a low qualification will never have the resources or the knowledge of highly qualified managers. But, you know, green technologies entail and require specific entrepreneurial skills. So as we live in this situation, the real question is, will the Italian entrepreneurial system to bring about a technological green transition? My personal answer, according to the data that I viewed, of course, is that some will make it, but many will not make it, because change is structural, and it is not a niche change, you know, only for a small niche. So this is the great opportunity that is offered by the recovery plan. I mean, there is a public coordination for investments. So if we develop cooperation, especially on local markets, then I believe that the demand will generate its own supply. And probably a part of the supply will also generate more green enterprises. Because, for instance, students who have a specific green skills, they will open up new companies, new enterprises. For instance, like startups 10 years ago, those, you know, startuppers in the Silicon Valley. And they created digital enterprises. Now we could have green enterprises. But
any questions? So let's move on to the session, or do you prefer coffee break?
I will ask again if there are any questions, maybe from home also.
Yes, maybe there are
Questions,
consideration.
Comments. Also from home? No.
Okay, so. Okay, do you want coffee break?
Yeah. So thank you. Let's open now Erasmus Plus contribution to the European Green Deal, sharing experience to inspire. Erasmus Plus best practice. Let me now introduce some best practice that can be a source of inspiration for all of us and for the realization of new initiative, which I hope will be successful. And then we will open the question answer and discussion, and then we will have a lunch around 1 a.m. So the first project is about VET. VET is Vocational Education and Training Environment in the VET system, a powerful tool for the future. Organization CNR, Consiglio Nazionale delle Ricerche, Dottor Piero Ciccioli. Over to you. The floor is yours. Thank you. Okay. Yes. Or maybe you prefer the mic?
No, it's the same. Okay.
You can move around, it's fine. Okay.
Try to not to be too distant from the mic. Okay. Good morning to everyone. My name is Piero Ciccioli. I'm a researcher at the CNR, that is the Italian National Research Council. and I have been coordinator of the ANVAT project within the framework of the Erasmus Plus from 2016 till 2018, if my memory serves me well. And AMVT is environmental in the VAT system as a powerful tool for the future, the full title of the project, as it was aimed at creating, basically, 2 didactic programs aimed at presenting the main feature of environmental sustainability for the VAT system, vocation and training system. And now it will be my pleasure to present the main products that have been developed within the framework of such project, and moreover, the evolution that this product had in the past few years. So, let's start from the first of the 2 teaching programs that has been developed within the framework of the project. The first one is an introductory didactic program, let's say, which consisted of 3 didactic modules. Each one was dedicated to, and actually is dedicated to, present the main concepts of the environmental sustainability in the light of each one of the 3 dimensions of sustainable development. So the first module is dedicated to environmental dimension and thus presented the key features of the natural resources in the light of their renewability and non-renewability. The second module is dedicated to social dimension, and its aim is to present, give information on the social aspect that can have an impact on the environmental sustainability by presenting, for example, the IPAT equation. And finally, the economic dimension, and in this last module of this first program, the aim is to present the dedicated programs that can be of help in a green transition and basically the main concept of the green economy. In 2016, when the project started, European Union was implementing for the first time the 17 Sustainable Development Goals that were produced and published just 1 year before. So it was pretty difficult in real time talking of green economy while there was in the same year great attention to the 17 Sustainable Development Goals that in some ways redefined the concept of green economy. For this reason, we had to work a lot on what was actually happening in Europe during that period. The second teaching program was and is an in-depth teaching program. It consists of 6 modules, and they are aimed at presenting the main implementation strategies that at that time were at the state of the art and were aimed at implementing the concepts of and put into practice the concept of environmental sustainability. And for this reason, they were clustered in 3 thematic areas, 2 modules for each one of these thematic areas. The first thematic area is eco-sustainable production models, and the 2 modules that fall in this area are dedicated to present the main concept of the circular economy and the low-carbon economy, respectively. The second thematic area is the eco-sustainable policies and social responsibility. And in this case, 2 best practices were presented in that, the sustainable waste management and the sustainable management of water resources. And finally, in order to give some practical examples of green economy, the third thematic area presented 2 real cases of environmental, let's say, problem solving of industrial production that changed their behavior in a greener one. One is the production of wool, and the second is a production of services aimed at improving the energy efficiency in the buildings. Each model consists of 3 tools. The first is a didactic document dedicated to teachers and aimed at providing them with the basic information to present, explain, possibly deepen the contents of the didactic presentation. That is the second tool, and consists in a set of slides designed to present the content to the students. And finally, a questionnaire developed in accordance with the ACVAT criteria, and obviously aimed at assessing the students' comprehension and understanding of the concept presented in the module. For what the didactic documents is concerned, they are organized accordingly to a format that was specifically developed in the framework of the project, and basically consists on the toolbar that you can see on the right of the page, taken as an example. And there are different tools that can help the teacher to better explain the concept contained in the documents to the students by means of the presentation. These are designed to be self-consistent so that teacher can use just 1 or 2 or how many he wants, but it's not, it must not use all the presentation of all the module to discuss the topics to the students. So he can implement just 1 or 2. And are easily customizable so that teacher can add or change the content as he wants. Some customization have been made as an example, during the testing phase of the modules within the framework of the project, within the lifespan of the project. And in the afterlife of the project, we will see soon that they were also implemented and most of all updated in order to match the needs of higher education. Finally, the structure of the didactic questionnaire is the one showed in the picture, and they are produced accordingly to ACVAT criteria. There is a set of 20 questions for each module. Each question can be answered in 3 different ways, 3 options, and just one is the right one. And what happened? As said, the project were coordinated by CNR, and CNR coordinated team partnership of organization coming from 5 countries, Italy as well, Denmark, UK at that time, Northern Ireland to be more precise, and Lithuania and Spain, and obviously it was recognized, or I will be not able to speak here, as a good practice example of the Erasmus Plus project. And for this reason, in 2021, it was selected by the CNR as the 90 best projects that have been developed by this national research body in the field of the so-called third mission, which basically is the higher education field. And for this reason, it was submitted to the evaluation of the quality of research of all the Italian research bodies that is made every 5 or 6, basically 5 to 6 years, every 5 to 6 years, as a case study of the quality of research made by CNR in the third mission in the higher education, and received a very good evaluation. But the more important thing is that in the same year, in 2001, I had a collaboration with Professor Giovanni Capecchi of the University of Forghenza of Perugia that ended in a setup of a free advanced training short course on literally environmental sustainability, natural resources, and green economy at the said university. And in that occasion, I updated and expanded and improved the original modules in order to meet the criteria and the standards of higher education, of university education. The short course had a success such that another professor of the same university, Mauro Marchegiani, who is also the director of the degree course in, namely, International Studies for Sustainability and Social Security, asked me to participate to the call for assignment as adjunct professor for the course on green and circular economy. So I once again improved and a lot the original module. I used that, the ANVAT module as a base to create this university course on green and circular economy. And it was held, I held it from October to December 2022. So 4 years exactly after the end of the project. And I think that this is the main conclusion that I can present here, the final evolution of these products. And it's pretty much in accordance with what Dr. Ricci said before, that in this sector of green jobs, there is an increasing demand of higher formation, education on this topic. I started with VAT system and ended up to be asked to produce and improve those products for the university system. That's it. And the official site of the project is still active, is on the URL on the top of the slide. And after there is my official email, if you have any question, please. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Ciccioli, for this interesting contribution. Now, do you have any questions? Please.
Okay, thank you very much. I just wonder which were the challenges you faced during the development of the project and also nowadays, if you have any challenges or...
Yeah, the main challenge, thank you for your question. The main challenge is to keep the product updated because it's very fast sector, the green sector, and the main challenge is to keep updated and try to be well informed. I'm a researcher, so I base my programs and module on the scientific paper because it's easy in this topic to say something wrong or not correct. This is the main problem, along with the fact that the technologies are growing faster in this field. So every year I have to change, improve something because the obsolescence is really, really quick in this topic.
Okay, thank you. And one more, do you have some evaluation of the project now that it is included in the university courses? Do you have some feedback from students?
Yeah, well, for the short course, I asked the student to produce sort of presentation based on the topic I've presented to them, and then it was published on the site, and it was like to see how much they have the comprehension, the understanding of the topics. And during the project, yes, we made a testing with two before and after self-assessment of about 200, more than 200 students on the 5 countries involved in the project.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So the title of next project is Eco-Mode Fostering Eco-Innovative Business Model Development in SME in the hospitality industry. Is a cooperation project. Please, Kailen De Angelis, you have the floor.
Thank you. Oh, yeah. It's okay. Okay, hello everyone. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yes. Hello everyone. I'm Kailen De Angelis from Training 2000. I represent a vocational education and training center in the Marche region. It's a private vocational education and training center, but we are accredited in the Marche region to offer European social funded courses and training courses for adults, but also for younger people. And we participate, of course, in development and in Erasmus Plus projects. So this project, which I'm going to present, is fostering eco-innovative business model development in SMEs in the hospitality industry. It was an Erasmus Plus KA2 project, which lasted from 2018 and ended in December 2020. So we had a bit of different things going on, but it was quite a challenge and quite a good project, I would say. I wanted to start off with some kind of interaction with you. So I wanted to try out a Socrative quiz. If you can scan the QR code or go in online. Once you're done, if you can just give me a green light. I'll ask for help. Or you can also go into just socrative.com and go in as a student login. Student login. Yeah, I'll give you the room name in 2 minutes. If nobody has turned off the, yes. Okay, so I would like to try out a space race with you. It's gone off. So the room name is actually a code, which is GNKSCCV. GNKSCCV. And whoever has entered the room and who has managed to enter the room should start seeing some questions. Have you started? Okay, so for the ones who have not entered, I'll try to read some of the questions. This is a bit of an interaction activity so that I don't bore you with the topics which the project is talking about, and then I will go on with the presentation of the real elements of what we have developed. This is a space race which we usually develop to create some interaction, and I think most of you have already used it. So, which of the following activities refer to sustainable mobility in the hospitality industry? Could be pedestrian, bicycle, public transport, or ferries. I'll try out with bicycle and submit my answer. and you can see that you get the correct answers or an explanation of what you have done. Eco Innovation Scoreboard and the Eco Innovation Index illustrates eco innovation performance across the globe. True. I don't know what team you're in, but I can see that more or less most of us are all at the same level. If you get quicker in answering, we can see who the real winner of the team is. Actually, I have only put in 6 teams, so probably much more. The targets of eco-innovation are the following: products, processes, and partners. Submit an answer. Maybe someone would like to answer to this. In guest rooms, eco-innovation can be implemented by separate waste collection systems, black and white TV instead of color TV, refillable soap or shampoo, centralized lighting system. I'll continue, I'll read another one and then I'll stop. An eco-innovative project should consider cooling, heating, grey water, green roof, waste management, employees as stakeholders, and teamwork. True? Are you getting them all wrong? So maybe somebody who has you in their team would like to get you up. Someone, Violet team is almost reaching the end and is quite advanced, also in correct answers.
Do we get the prize?
Yes, of course. Oh, yes, you do get a prize. You do get a prize. Okay. I think that's the end. The winner is the Violet group. I'll finish it, or do you want to answer the last questions? There should be 10 questions, not very many. Green is surmounting. Be careful. And also teal. Someone's going faster. Uh-oh. It's a real competition now. It's between Violet and teal. The last answer, correct one. Oh, almost there. Magari le apri un attimo, apri un paio, metti. Okay, that's it. Finish. This is the finish line. So basically, of course, I did not want to put your competences and your skills and your knowledge to pressure, because actually what we have done with these questions was cover a bit all the topics we have covered in our training course and in our EcoMode training material. So going back to what we have done. Okay. So going back to what we have done, the real aim of the project was to enhance professional competencies in eco-innovative business models. So we tried to create training material and OER training material to help managers of the tourism and hospitality industry to improve their business models from a sustainability and eco-innovative point of view. So how to analyze a business model within SMEs, which was already difficult for managers and for tourist operators, and how to improve them from a sustainable point of view. And then, of course, to collect and combine existing good practices, because when we started off, there weren't very many good practices of people using business models, first of all, and then applying them to the SMEs and to the tourism sector. So, as I said, we have, I'll skip this, but we also trained managers. We trained managers and SMEs, but we also trained trainers. So first of all, our main aim was to train trainers and educators, and then, of course, to transfer it to the trainer, through training courses, to managers, to the SMEs, and also to entrepreneurs in general. So the main outputs was a collection of good practices. We also developed a competence map. So what are the competences which a business model manager should reach in order to develop their skills as a business model manager in eco-innovation and sustainability management. We developed training modules on ecotourism under the form of OERs, so open educational resources, more or less. There is a training course plan for trainers, and we also developed a mobile app. The mobile app, which was mainly concentrated and concentrated on creating mini games, to be integrated within the training and to be used by trainers to motivate, but also to not only get theory, but also to get some gaming and some gaming principles within the training course. So you can also download the app on Google Play Store. The 8 modules, what did we develop? We developed the training material in 8 modules according to the competence map we had collected. So the most important modules that we had identified within the partnership was how to identify the market. So what are we talking about? What is sustainability? What is eco-innovation for SMEs, mainly in the tourism industry? What is collaboration with key partners for eco-innovation? So who are the key partners? Which are the partners a manager should be looking at to innovate and to make their company sustainable? How to build networks, what were the starting points towards eco-innovation. In fact, you may have seen that there was a very easy question. How can you improve environmental impact of your hotel or of your rural tourism house? Is it by using industrial soap, or is it by using electricity, green electricity? So very simple questions, because we wanted also to raise awareness and to get managers and tourism entrepreneurs to understand that everyone is part of the sustainability process, so that they can start off with very small steps. We're not talking about astrological or astrophysics, but we're talking about very small steps and how to get into this eco-innovation process. And then there was transforming the SME for the eco-innovative supply chain. So again, analyzing your business model and really how to study the case for each of the participants, and then analyzing the value chain. And there is also a module on case studies. Going back, I'll go back to the website very quickly. If it assists us. Sorry, it's in Italian. Yes, too much. Sorry for this. So as I said, going back to the website, I wanted to show you how we developed each module and the open educational resources mainly. And all of them had the same structure, more or less. So we started off with training content. We divided it into units, of course, based on the competence map. And then within each unit, the participant could find short presentations, so theoretical content, further readings and external resources. There are self-reflection questions. So for each unit, we asked the participant to take some questions to see if they have understood and to self-reflect on the topic they have done during the module. And then at the end of each module, the participant could also find, of course, the connection to the EcoMode app, so the specific games which were developed for the module. And then there is a self-assessment. A self-assessment here, again, based on evaluating the competencies and in basically evaluating the skills, well, mainly competencies and abilities, which a person has reached while taking the module, so at the end of the module. And this is, of course, also, they were 10 to 15 questions for each module as a self-assessment quiz. of course, being an open educational resource, all material are fully open, are still fully open, can be downloaded, can be changed according to, they are under Creative Commons copyright, so not really copyrighted. And each of the trainers and people who are continuing to use the material, because I'll tell you afterwards about the sustainability and where it has been used, they are also changing the material. So we also have a database, a backup, where we ask people who are changing our material to send it back to us so that we can update or see if there are changes to be done within the specific main material which we have developed. As I said, as a final output, we have developed this Eco Mode app, and it is mainly a tool for managers and SME owners or participants, so also for students, for vet students, to just play around with some games. And the app has mainly 3 games. One is knowledge, so some meanings of certain words in the sustainability and eco-innovation sector. The second is are some games developed around the business model canvas. So it's developed according to the business model canvas of Osterwalder. And the third game is more a memory game, again, just to cut off a bit of the theoretical content and to go forward. As I said, for sustainability purposes and also for dissemination reasons, we have yes, we distributed water bottles, of course, with the Eco Mode logo and the Erasmus Plus logo. But we also distributed, you probably have seen it, the green pencils. There are pencils with plants on top, so with just with plants, so that people could understand also the sustainability and the ecological impact, which we are also developing around these projects. So this was one thing, but mainly the sustainability, going back to where it is used at the moment. We had a great impact because we also tested the material, but it is still being used. We had a great impact from higher secondary schools, because in January 2021 the programs, the school programs had changed and were forcing teachers to introduce sustainability aspects in their curriculum. So a lot of our schools from our region, but also from the north, have required the material and are using it. We are also using it in training courses for entrepreneurs with the Association of SMEs, with CNA, of the Marche region and other regions around. And we are still actually using the material because as a vet training organization, we are at the moment also coordinating a new Erasmus Plus project developed here as a vet for named Badge Tour. So it is actually releasing badges and micro-credentialing in the tourism sector, because we have also seen that in order to promote sustainability and to promote the environmental impact in people, there is the need also for recognition. So training people, yes, training staff of companies, also of rural tourism houses, but a lot were asking, okay, I do this training, but what are you giving me? What do I get? So now we are developing badges, online badges for e-portfolios and in the tourism sector. So that will be the next evolution. I hope it will be also positive. So thank you very much. I think I have ended my time.
Thank you, Dr. Angelis, for your contribution. Please don't hesitate to interact with us. Any question? So, okay.
There are 4 prizes, so whoever wants them.
May I ask a question
Yeah,
to Mrs. De Angelis? You told us about the use of the training materials and of the training modules. And as Erasmus Plus NA, we are always positively stricken by the use and by the further use of the materials, which is an indicator for us of an effect triggered on the system. It's the first effect that we can identify. what perspective of use by further sectors or networks, or do you identify in the future through the development which you were talking about? Thank you.
Well, as I said, of course, this project was concentrated in the tourism sector, but I think there is quite a lot to work together with SMEs, mainly our SMEs, and also, as Andrea said, a lot of SME managers and entrepreneurs are not educated in using business models. It's not that normal for them. Usually a business model, at least for small and medium enterprises, is used for banks to get funding or to get some kind of funds, and that's it. And then it goes in the closet or in a drawer, and that's finished, that's over. A very nice experience also coming from this project was the fact that business models are more and more used by startups. So we also provided some training with startups in the tourism sector where they also interacted with elder managers or elder entrepreneurs on the use and the usefulness of business models. So again, the use of business models can be clearly transferred to other sectors, I think, as it is quite necessary at the moment also to revise this. And also the topic of sustainability and green in how really it's more probably about awareness raising, but not only, also training of people, of workers to understand that we're all part of the sustainability process. So I think these are the two elements which can really be transferred to different sectors. And of course, sorry, I didn't say, but also the open educational resources and the fact of how we have developed the training material that is open. If we get into a community and we continue developing, that's also something.
And so the next talk is about written and water, new models of work-based learning for promoting European scientific career. The speaker is Andrea Tersigni, Gestione e Ricerca Ambiente Ittica Acque. Over to you.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. My name is Andrea Tersigni, and I'm here today to represent Graia SRL. That it's a small medium enterprise from North Italy. We deal with the water environment and education and dissemination of environmental aspects. I'm gonna introduce this project that we were honored to carry on with a great partnership. And I start from a little bit from the story of this project. This project came from an Italian project called Water Morphosis Environment with an Italian partnership of Fondazione Caripolo with A2A that are all working in North Italy. And in this partnership, there was a high school, a great high school in North Italy called Liceo Calini, that it's a school with a great vision and a different vision for the future. So we start to talk together and say, why don't we create and why don't we do an international project? Why don't we use the basis and what we gain with the Italian project for make a great international project? And this project starts with all these actors from 3 different countries. So there were Italian, Poland, and Croatian schools, and there were even 4 organizations. Well, we have Graia, that we were the project coordinator, and other 3 organizations, one from Poland, one from Croatia, and another one from Italy, that it's Parco Adamello. So we start to work together on this project, and we fixed the main objectives of this project. So we want to increase the student interest in the scientific career, and how we want to do it with the work-based learning. So we focus our attention on what we can do to create a project with this aspect. But another important aspect that we want to introduce in this project was even the improve of the teacher methodologies, because it's even important that the teachers and even the trainers, the mentors that took part in this project were able to deal with this work-based learning. And last but not least, enhance collaboration with other schools, because an important aspect of the Erasmus Plus program is the ability to replicate this project in different other situations. And when we fix these main objectives, we have to decide what kind of central aspect we are going to deal with. Well, we are a society, an enterprise that works with water. The previous project was based on water, so the topic and the main aspect of this project is water. Of course, it's inside the name of the project, and the water, so it's our basis, our starting line. And how can we involve students in these activities? Well, we decided to implement the activities on the river pollution. So all aspects that are inside the European Green Deal. Well, the project started in 2017, so the European Green Deal was probably at its beginning and was not completely developed. So today, in 2022, we say that this project was completely compliance with this European Green Deal, because one of the aspects of the European Green Deal is the water quality, the preserving of the biodiversity. So we were lucky, of course, and probably, well, we were waiting about this European Green Deal, and we started to think about what we can do to make some activities that involve these students. The water, the water is and the rivers, the environment, the pollution, it's regulated in Europe by the Water Framework Directive. So we started to think the project from this directive. Well, it's a very big, directive that comprehends a lot of fields. And what we want to stress in the project was to bring these little guys, these students, inside the river, inside the environment, to collect what? To collect the data in order to demonstrate, in order to learn how researchers, how private enterprise work in this field. So they were able to do something that probably was not in their mind, because they are used to stay at school to learn from book, and what we proposed them, it was to learn these activities, these theoretical things that they study on the field. So it was really, really tough to organize these activities, because we deal with fish sampling, we deal with macroinvertebrate sampling. So all activities that we usually did, but we have never done it before with guys and girls of really without any experience in this field. So what happened inside the school was that the teachers, so the Polish teachers, the Croatian teachers, and the Italian one, selected some group of students with a very specific, how can I say, with a very specific key plan of how they have to go in this activity. So, for example, in Italy, one of the first thing that they used was the motivation to participate in this activity, the scientific skills. So they selected this group, and then in this decision of the activity, there were the trainers, there were the experts, there were some association that cooperate with us, and the results was that we did six transnational mobilities. So in 2 years, we brought this guy in Poland, in Croatia, and in Italy for do this activity. I'm gonna give you an example of the organization of the mobility. So it was a very, very busy week because the students were, well, they started with some introduction, some presentation of the activity, and in the day after we went, in the days after we went on, we went in the field and making this activity. I give you some example of the workshops we proposed. We did some electrofishing in order to sample the fish community. So here you can see the students working inside the water in order to sample fish. Here they are they are sampling some macroinvertebrate, and we talk about the hydromorphology of the river, and we did some fish identification. At the end of all these workshops, what happened? The working group verbalized everything of what we did. So the output were 3 intellectual outputs in order to be available for everyone that want to implement this kind of project in the future. So we have the intellectual output 1, where we have the guidelines for develop the methodologies. So for the teachers that can take some very interesting aspects and use it. Then we have the intellectual outputs 2, that it's exactly what happened on in the field activities. So all the protocol that we follow, all what is necessary to develop this activity, and then the intellectual output 3 contain all the international meetings that we have, all the multiplayer event that we have during this project. The contribution to the green skills, where we tested the guys with a lot of questionnaire, and one of the indicator was about the green skills, and the result was incredible, because up to 204 students involved in all the project. We have 88 students that became interested in developing scientific careers in the green skills, and then we have an increase of the awareness in all the countries involved during this project. So what the students think about the project was incredible, because the project was a complete success. We have, for example, this student that said that it was the best experience in his life. The project was not only field activities or lessons. They have the chance to get together and have fun. So it's a great experience for them. So I'm going to finish this presentation with this picture. Well, it's a great picture of the Valle Camonica Valley in northern Italy. Well, it's a beautiful landscape, but this picture was taken 3 days before the first mobilities in Italy, and we were supposed to go there with the guys. So with the other colleagues, we decided to change the place and to select a plan B for this activity. And well, in the organization of this project, the plan B was always a great way to save our work, because working in the field, it was not easy. So thank you for the attention. And
Thank you, Dr. Tersini. And now I'm going to introduce you the next talk. It's an innovative European training pathway to support the development of a new job profile. The coordinator of shared urban vegetable gardens with a view to achieving is recognition in the vocational education and training system, thus promoting an employability in the green economy. Dr. Andrea Messori. Okay, I think you are in three. Yes. The floor is yours. Please, the microphone. I don't know if you prefer.
No, this one is okay. Good morning, everybody, and thank you very much for invitation. Okay, it's okay. For invitation, especially to Inapp, because we have a long story that is passing through the support that the National Agency of Italy has given to this project. I will tell you why. It is a long, long story. Because it's starting when the program was named Grundvik, and we were applying for a project that was, in a sort of way, letting community gardens, going around, looking for other community gardens, recognizing practices, exchanges practices, and we were bringing people in other countries, discovering one thing, that these people were not really digging the land. They were not really cultivating any tomatoes. So why are you participating to this exchange, really? Because we are the one in the community gardens that are taking care about humans. We are cultivating people inside the community garden. Quite interesting discovery, because there was someone inside the community gardens, and it was the same in United Kingdom, in Spain, in Greece, in Italy. So we have something in common. We have a function of coordination, a function of mediation, that was in a sort of way growing people inside the land instead of growing vegetables. Quite interesting. So we go on and we say, okay, it would be great to understand how these people are acting, which are the competencies they have. And we start for an adult education project using Leonardo da Vinci, transfer of innovation. Why transfer of innovation? Because we discovered that in France, the Ministry of Education has codified everything about what is this profile of coordinator, setting all the competencies, never applying no one of these rules in practice really. So they study, they establish, they put a regulation, they never use it in practice. Interesting, okay? A lot of intellectual work without using it. The other side, United Kingdom, we have a lot of use of it. No one line codified. It means everything was empiric, nothing was analytic. France, everything was analytic, nothing empiric. Italy, nothing empiric, nothing analytic. So we have to find a way to put everything together. First barrier in Europe. is to understand each other. So the only way we found to name something that does not exist and that is not the same in each country is to give and to choose a name that doesn't mean anything for anybody. So we have to find something that doesn't mean anything in English, anything in French, anything in Italian, anything in Greek, anything in Spanish. Garden organizer. We created Gardenizer. Everybody, yes, thank you very much. It doesn't mean anything in my country. So we can finally sit down together, exchange, and create what is this kind of profile. And here we are arriving to Inapp, okay? Because at a certain moment we say, okay, this is coming from what? This is coming from adult education in a non-formal way. But if we want that everybody is recognizing this function, we have to pass through vocational education and training. Not because you are forced to do it, but because this sector is offering the possibility through AGVET system, so the system of credits, through everything that is the codification of competencies, learning outcomes, and so on, to give a certain kind of framework that is in a certain way can be common, so you can easily use it at European level, understanding each other, and each one of us can have a recognition at local level because you can always transfer and translate the credits in the way you want. This is the Bologna process, no? Do what you want. This is more or less the synthesis of it. So we agree together at an international, I'm simplifying, of course. It's only a way of exposition, that's all. But in a certain way, it's a way that is more easy also to be understood, because in this way, we create a training course for a Gardenizer, and we put something that is coming from the vocational education and training. Gardenizer Pro, professional. Why? Because even if not in all the countries this profession is paid, it doesn't matter, because it's the profile that is offering something professional to the people. So it's the approach that is professional. What happened? We finished the project, and in United Kingdom, in the job centers, some job profiles start to appear under the title Gardenizer Pro. In Italy, someone starts to pay for this kind of people to make this kind of work that was not defined, and some people get money for it. In France, they start to say, oh, we have codes and rules, so why don't we apply it? Animateur de jardin. It was existing already before, but nobody was thinking to use it in a professional way. So what was happening in order to arrive to the continuous of the story, because it's not never-ending story. It's a never-ending story because in this moment, these two people that are coming from Social Farms and Garden, that is the Federation of British Community Gardens Association in United Kingdom, they are still in because of Erasmus+. We use in a strategic way the last project that is named Gardenizer Hub, that is now going on for the next 2 years, and we wrote together the project suggesting kindly to the Federation in United Kingdom to apply before they exit also Erasmus+. So they are still in for this reason. They are the coordinator, so they are titled to be inside at least until the end of the project. But they were by chance here in Rome this week together with us in order to prepare the next Gardenizer Pro. Yeah, there is another Gardenizer Pro. So what we have prepared during the project and experimented during the project under Erasmus+ VAT is now realized again in July. We have again another 25 people participating to this training course. There is also the question that in the meanwhile, the city of Rome has been nominated as a good practice around Europe about community gardens, thanks to the joining of Gardenizer Pro work and urban program that is for the cities, only for municipalities, because they have a problem. The problem is, being the movement of community gardens so in development, how we can tackle the question of governance. And they discover that the Gardenizer can be a perfect trait d'union, okay, piece of connection a perfect connector between also the institutional world and the civic society. So these things goes together, and we start also to work with them, and now there is Krakow that is working on it. There is La Coruña that is working on it. There is Thessaloniki that is working on it. And I can continue to mention a lot of cities that are taking this experience, and they are working on their countries on the question of community garden, but changing the way of establishing the governance. It means applying really horizontal subsidiarity, and sometimes also, because they are very experimentalist people, they also believe on the circular subsidiarity. It means to put the civic society at their place and accept that they are designing green policies in their city. Why? Because they consider community garden in terms of green, not only a stakeholder, but also an hub, a policy hub where to pass through. So it's really, really interesting. Is it the story finished? No, because we receive also from EuroPaid now a grant for 3 years to go to Latin America, where Colombia and the city of Barranquilla will exploit all the work we have done in Europe in order to make an experimentation in their country, because they have a lot of communities that are coming from Venezuela, Peru, and so on, that are simply transferring in the big cities of Colombia because they are more rich, there is more place, there is more work. And there, they catch the point immediately. We are working together with employment services of Barranquilla because they immediately understand that their profile can be a work, and they are available as a municipality to pay for it in order to have a possibility really to govern the situation and to profit about it. Is it the end of the story? It means at the end of 3 years from now, so 2025, it will be finished. I don't think so, because the question is that in Barranquilla, there is some observators. São Paulo do Brazil, Tuzla, Mexico, and Lima from Peru. And they are there to observe because there is the Inter-American Bank of Investment that is saying, I'm sitting behind the curtains. When you finish your experimentation, I will judge if it is the case to invest some millions of dollars on the development of community gardens in Latin America. I don't know if I will survive until when I will see this evolution, but this is more or less what is happening. And everything started from a key passage, passing from empiric to analytic, but using Erasmus Plus as a tool to make it recognizable, to make different sectors of education, of institutions, of civil society, finding a common vocabulary and having a common glossary in order to understand each other. That was the key question, and for that I thanks a lot Inapp, because to invest in accepting a project that is coming from non-formal sector, passing through adult education and be financed by vocational education and training, believe me, is a challenge. Especially for a national agency, is also a risk. Put if they were failing, what we can tell to the Commission, why we spend the money in this way instead of another one. They make this challenge, and we thank you for doing it, and I hope that you are happy about the result as we are. But the question is, again, if you want to know about, okay, what is the concrete follow-up? I bring you a piece of follow-up. So I pass the floor to the follow-up.
Hello, everyone. My name is Orsetta, and this is Eleanor. Yeah, I wanted to ask if we could put the website up. But so we are one of the first Gardenizer Pro from Social Farm and Gardens. We work for different organizations, but we... Microphone, sorry, I never used one before, so there you are. So I work in London for an organization called Urban Growth, and I did the training, and it really helps to, as a gardenizer, yes, as Andrea said, you don't do the growing, or you do some of the growing, but it's more organizing everything that is part of a project. So you need to know about engaging people, finance, organizing events, and the gardenizer prepares you for all of this. It gives you a basic knowledge for all the things that you need to do to organize a garden, which you think is very easy to organize a garden, but it's not, because there's, you know, yeah. And we did in 2019, so we became gardenizers, and then now we are part of the Gardenizer Hub, so we are becoming teachers, so we can then teach other people to become gardenizers. And we are here in Rome this week to help Andrea with Replay Network, because they collaborate with social farms and gardens to do or set up the training that then it will happen in July. So that's it. There you are.
I just wanted to say, yeah, I'm Ellen. I live in Edinburgh, and I work for the Botanics, and in there it's all about plants. And for a long time I was just not just a gardener, but I was a gardener. But at one point in my life, I felt like I need something a bit more meaningful. So I went and did community gardening. So how many of you have heard community gardeners? Hands up. No, okay, 1, 2, okay, 3, 4, thank you. How many knew about Gardenizer before today? No, and how many now after Andrea spoke? Yeah. That's an achievement then. So that's good, that's exactly what we want, because part of it, as a community gardener, if you want to be a gardener, you can go and study in really prestigious horticulture training. But as a community gardener, there wasn't anything. So what happens is you end up in that job, and then you find yourself having to manage volunteers, you're having to manage projects that are really out of your comfort zone. So you're expanding faster than you're learning, managing. And so when I heard about the Gardenizer, I really felt like finally we are being recognized that our job is not just growing plants, it's so much more. It's just, and for me, it's always been about people and plants. So, but then to realize that actually we have to learn as well about finance. It's not my strength. It's always been people. So, but so to be able to recognize that, for me, that was really important. So that's why I did the training, even though I had like 20 years experience. But I needed that. I need that it needs to be recognized that this is a green job that's really important. And we do so much, not just for the environment, but for people and well-being. It just covers so many things. So yeah, I'm really passionate.
So in conclusion, everything we have presented now, if you have not understood anything about this presentation, don't worry, it is recorded. Anyway, you can see it again, but in any way, everything is there. Gardenize.eu is in 5 languages. You can go through. There is the question of what is a Gardenizer, which are the credits associated to it. There is all the intellectual output has been developed, written, put it there in different languages. You can download it for free for there. So you can also create your own training course of Gardenizer if you want, no problem. But there is also the possibility here to have certain services for these people. You see why these photos are passing, because it's personal branding. We are using the website all around the world in order to also to promote these people. And there is a map where you can find where are the Gardenizers settled. You can look for the Gardenizer that was more near to you in terms of proximity, is also to carbon price, we go less, no, in a certain way. There is also the possibility to have a map to see where are the community gardens. Perhaps you are looking for them, you don't know where they are, so they have the possibility to register again. There is also the license for the trainers, that is the new activity we are doing now with Gardenizer Hub. Soon we will have also what is the next future. That is the question of Gardenizer Tech, the training course for municipalities and public functionaries that has to govern this process. And the other side, Gardenizer Edu, what has been approached to masters of the school and teachers, how to use the opportunities that community garden is given to the school in order to use them as a learning environment. This is more or less the things that are the future, but we are working, of course, on something else, that is to develop another service here, a calculator that is giving the possibility to have an index of community impact of the community gardens on the community. To find a way to do what? To attract investment from social responsibility enterprises, because they don't need to spend money to wash their face. They need to spend money to have real impact. But if you don't offer to them the possibility to know how much is impactful what they are supporting, it will be difficult. So that is But is it already a project? No, we are writing on it. Next deadline, okay? 2023. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Andrea Missori. And now the next guest, Dr. Francesca Carmagnola. Please join us. The project developed online learning units on soft mobility and urban transportation. The project included training sessions within the 4 partner countries, Slovenia, United Kingdom, Austria, and obviously Italy. Please. We need, there is a video contribution? No, maybe, do we have time? Do we have time? Later, okay, we will see the video later, before, okay, before, okay, at the end of this speech, okay. Sure.
Thank you. If you can come here to...
So in this program, do you foresee also possibility of buying land in the community, financing, you know, attracting financing, this type of activity?
So the topic is being tackled in 2 different ways. Inside the training course, there is over part of the question of how to cope with the land. Can be public land, can be that someone is putting land for you, you can rent. So there is also abilities of negotiation for that is inside the project. If I give you an example, the city of Krakow, they start this process of approaching, thanks to Urbact projects, what we were doing in Gardenizer Pro, and they have a problem because Gardenizer Pro has solicited people to get involved. But finally, they were asking for land, and the city of Krakow, coming from the Foreman block that has no more anything that is private, because the land after the wall of Berlin fall down has been given completely to private. There is nothing more that is public. So the city of Krakow, they make a plan and they buy the land to be given especially to new rurals, new youngsters that were asking for applying community gardens. But this is a very fantastic example. Huh? I'm not talking about Italy. Italy is out of this kind of things. But we have a lot of abandoned, especially in Rome, a lot of abandoned sites and places that the community and the city is not able to manage. And in most of the examples of Rome, for example, totally, they completely come from recovery this place, cleaning everything and put it again green, but guaranteeing that in the time, they continue to be green, they continue to be curated by the people directly without affecting one euro to the municipality.
Thank you. We will see the video later. Please, Francesca Carmagnola, over to you.
So, good morning. My name is Francesca Carmagnola. I represent ENGIM, which was the coordinator of this project. ENGIM is a vet organization that operates in Italy and also in other countries of the world. And we are now a foundation. We have about 25 branches in Italy, and we provide training for young people, but also adult people, unemployed mainly, but also employed to update their competencies. And we have a specific eye on the labor market. So all our courses are devoted to include and to help them in the inclusion in the labor market. So in this context, I would like to introduce you the STREET project. STREET stands for Sustainable Transport Education for Environment and Tourism. The project was co-funded by Erasmus, in particular Erasmus Plus under the Key Action 2 strategic partnership. The project started in 2015 and ended in 2018, so it was a 3 years long program. It involved different organizations, so ENGIM, as I said, was the leading partner, but also United Kingdom with the City of London, Slovenia with the City of Ljubljana, of Bled, and Austria with the City of Werfenwang. So the goal of the project was to define a new professional profile. We call that expert for sustainable mobility and tourism. This profile focused on two main fields: alternative mobility and sustainable tourism, which are opportunities for economic growth, local development, and are also some milestones according to the European policy. With this aim, and also with the further aim of fostering digital education, we created a platform with some open educational resources, and we set up two courses: the basic course and the specialized course. So the basic course was compounded by 11 video lessons with the aim of providing a general overview of mobility management in different national contexts, ranging from legislative framework to transport competencies and techniques, and also some soft skills which are very relevant nowadays, like team working and problem solving. About 100 of people attended this basic course, and 46 people finished it, passing the final exam. Among these 26 students, 21 have been selected to attend the specialized course. So the specialized course was very interesting because it was a training program with the goal of experimenting in the field what people have learned in the basic course. In particular, the specialized course was compounded by study visits or learning activities in the countries of the project, so United Kingdom, Italy, Slovenia, and Austria. Each study visit lasted 5 days and alternated classroom lesson with outdoor activities to provide students with different approaches to mobility and to sustainable tourism. All the lessons learned into the basic course and in the specialized course, together with some best use cases and best practices, were collected in what we call Toolbox. Toolbox is an ebook, it was and is, because it does exist, an ebook manual that include, let's say, a sort of materials for creating the European Mobility Manager of the future. One more interesting thing, according to me, is that all the competencies gained during the project were assessed using ESCO, so the European Skill Competence, Qualification and Occupation. And for those participants coming from my region, Piedmont, we also used the regional framework of Piedmont region to assess competencies. So I just want to show you a brief video that summarizes the project, and you can see happy faces of the participants because they were really happy.
Training new managers for sustainable mobility and tourism, meeting the needs of an expanding sector with a new and innovative professional profile able to combine local economic development and sustainability, providing entrepreneurial skills and technical know-how to the European market. These are the challenges tackled by the STREET project. STREET stands for Sustainable Transport Education for Environment and Tourism, and it has been co-funded by the European Union through its Erasmus Plus program. The project is mainly addressed to young people between 20 and 35 years old. To promote the use of digital training, the partners developed an online platform with open educational resources within the project website, www.streetproject.eu. 2 online courses were set up. A basic course that through 11 video lessons provided a general overview on mobility management in different national contexts, starting from the legislative framework and continuing to the training for mobility managers
and their interdisciplinary skills. Among all, the basic course examined the drafting of urban plans for sustainable mobility, the concept and technologies of integrated transport systems, communication, and territorial marketing strategies. 100 students registered to the course, and 43 of them completed the basic course and passed the evaluation test. Among these, 24 students were selected to participate in the specialized course that involved learning activities abroad. The study visits, also known as learning activities, were a fundamental part of the specialized course and represented an opportunity to experience in the field what the students learned remotely in the basic course. The study visits were carried out in areas with different contexts and backgrounds, which led to different approaches to mobility and sustainable tourism. Each study visit lasted for 5 days, alternating classroom and outdoor activities. In London, the subject was traffic, congestion and safety, problems and solutions in the largest European capital, an intermodal journey through several transport systems, underground, overground, buses, trams, Docklands Light Railway, airline cable car, river buses, multimodal hubs, bike sharing facilities, ticketing systems and services and more. Berfenbeng, Austria, is a mountain village that made sustainable mobility its badge. Through the SAMO card, visitors leave their car at home, and with a small sum of money, they can move around with electric cars, motorbikes, bikes, segways provided by the municipality. Change of setting, and we are now in Bled, Slovenia, hosting the third study visit beside its beautiful lake. The students saw how a village is being working to reduce the impact of a huge number of tourists by designing and implementing long-lasting mobility solutions. The final study visit took the students to Torino, Italy, where they had the chance to recall the main subjects of a project: innovation in sustainable transport policies, promotion of mobility infrastructures and services, and the tools to create startup small and medium enterprises dealing with environment and sustainable tourism. All the lessons learned in both the basic and specialized course, together with the most interesting case studies, jobs markets conditions, etc., will be gathered in the toolbox, the Project Legacy, that will be realized as an ebook manual for the European Sustainable Mobility and Tourism Managers of the Future.
Okay, so the reason why I asked you before your challenging aspects is because it was a very, let's say, hard project, because 3 years is a lot, and I faced the same challenge you have. So how to keep materials updated, because what was new in 2015 was no more new in 2018, especially in some topics like alternative mobility or sustainable tourism, which were hot topics at the moment. So this was one of our challenge. And another one was that students were very high demanding, because they all had previous competencies in the field, because they had a master degree in urban planning or mobility. So they try to get the best from the project, and we need, especially in the study visits, to make them discover and know something they didn't know before. So these were very challenging. But I think that the most relevant aspect of this project were, in general, people. And when I talk about people, I talk about students, because, okay, they were high demanding, but they were very motivated. trying to get the best from this project. And we are still in touch with some of them. And the nice thing is that they refer that they are working in the field, and they refer that the project has helped their career. So this is one good thing about people of the project. And the other good thing was people in terms of partnership, because we were all different partners with different competence, and we all brought our experience into the project. And I think that in this kind of projects, which are very hard, a good partnership is the essential thing. In general, talking about green jobs and green thoughts in general, I think that the project, or I would like to think that the project had raised the awareness of these young people that behind some choices, some local choices, there are some thoughts in terms of sustainability. And I think that everything passed through training and education. We need to train not only young people, but in general people, that these are the keys of the future. So sustainability, alternative mobility, and so on. So we need to change our mentalities, and the projects we all presented goes in that direction. But the key aspect is to train people, because only in this way we can change the mentality, because the young people of today are the adults of tomorrow, that probably they will take decisions. So this is my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you. And now the last speech before and after the conclusion. So the next is about the cooperation project, develop innovative training materials to upskill and reskill the competence of VET learners, needs and young professionals in the field of renewable energy to increase their chance to access the labor market. Please, Dottoressa Simona Palumbo.
So good morning or good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for inviting me. I know you can be a little bit tired, so I will try to be concise. I'm Simona Palumbo. I'm from TCA. We are an NGO based in Palermo, in Sicily, and we have a great experience in Erasmus Plus program. Today I'm going to introduce you the New Wave project. Yep, here it is. So it lasted 3 years. It started in 2017 and it finished, we can say recently, in August 2020. We have had some challenges in these projects in terms of geographical representation, because as you can see, we were 6 partners, okay, TCA from Italy, then we had 3 VET providers from Denmark, Greece and Austria, and 2 SMEs in renewable energies. Can you imagine that in these countries, renewable energy has different meanings, the different jobs. Green jobs in Italy has a meaning, in Denmark, in Austria, in Greece it has another, the same for Spain. But anyway, we did our best and thankfully it was recognized as a best practice by Inapp. So what's the background? Why the New Wave project? What we wanted to achieve? Can you imagine that global discussions have 2 main themes nowadays that are the use of, the efficient use of resources and the low carbon society. So these were our main starting points. The idea was to also start from the needs of the EU vision for 2050 to have a cut of emission to the 80%. So starting from these 2 main topics, we know that the framework, the idea is that millions of new jobs, of green jobs, will be created from these needs. And this means new technical skills and also soft skills, extremely important if these people want to work in renewable energy. When I'm in technical skills, I'm not referring to engineers, because we already have high-level education in terms of engineering or specialized professionals. What we needed was a basic labor force, but with very specific technical skills. So we wanted to address this main target group. And this is why the New Wave project came to life. So the main objective was to support VET learners' needs, young professionals in updating their already existing skills, but transforming there in a green way, so they could learn new green technical and soft skills. And we wanted also to do it through a strong collaboration, and I think this is the main best practice that we want to mention in this project, strong collaboration among different stakeholders from different sectors, so green SMEs, green business, and research centers, vocational, vet providers in general, and also through a combination of e-learning model, through the development of an open online course, and also of a mobility that I'm going to mention in a few minutes. So what we wanted to do was to increase employability of these young vet students and needs in developing vet business partnerships in the renewable energy field, update the professional opportunities of these young workers in the renewable energy sector, but also offering learning opportunities, innovative learning opportunities through an open online course directly specific on renewable energies, and also to support vet professionals in this field. It was an innovative project, if I can say, because in terms of methodology and of product development, I'm not going here to list you all the products and the outputs of the project, okay, because I know it can be a little bit too much for now. I will try to focus on the most important things according to me. So it was innovative also in terms of internationalization of vet education, because we really wanted to involve different actors from different countries, always from the green sector, so experts, people that manages and work in green companies, vet providers that have already experience in teaching green subjects. And we have three main target groups. So as we said, the vet learners and young professionals who wanted to work in the green sector. As I said, no engineers, okay, but really like a basic level and of technical skills. And that means also plumbers, electricians, okay, this kind of target group, but also the vet trainers and who aim at professional development, and also policymakers and stakeholders that could help us have launch the project and ensure a higher impact at European level. So what we needed first was to decide which topics we want to address, what we want to teach these people. So we needed a comparative transnational research to understand, first of all, what are the labor market needs. Okay, what do these people need in terms of skills if they want to be plumbers or electricians in renewable energy sector? And we wanted also to find out the skill mismatches existing between the job demands and the learning offers. Okay, that was present in all the countries involved in the project. The research findings were used as a basis of the contents of the open online courses. So, for example, we understood that biomass is very strong and it's very important nowadays in Spain, so we had to put it, although it was not the main subject, the main topic in Denmark. So this was a very big struggle, you know, trying to address to all the necessities, all the needs in the different countries. But we believe that we could find really a good combination of all these needs and create a very good open online course. So as I said, we wanted to address some specific target groups because we didn't want to lose the main objective of the project. We didn't want to create something too generical. So we decided, as it resulted from our research, to focus on two main target groups that were plumbers and electricians. So we created an open online course of renewable energy for plumbers and an open online course of renewable energies for electricians. That means that different subjects of renewable energy were addressed through these open online courses. So in terms of good practices, for sure, the involvement, as said before, of green experts in the research phases, in the development of the open online course, asking their feedback on the needs, on what was developed in that moment was absolutely important. So having the involvement of these green experts from different sectors, as I said, green SMEs, vet providers, different stakeholders was absolutely crucial. Also to help us identify the skill mismatches between job demands and learning offers. And the development of a blending learning for these vet learners. That means the self-learning through an open online course that they could independently from home attend, and a 15-day training in Spain and in Italy, when youngsters from Denmark, from Italy and Greece could go and attend, hosted by renewable energies companies. So they had like 15 days of full immersion in the topic of renewable energies, thanks to these SMEs that were also partners in the project. It was absolutely successful. Here in these pictures, you can see also the Saline in Marsala. You know, for us, it's a very important resource in terms of renewable energies also nowadays, but also solar plants. They had the chance really to visit many interesting things. Okay, if we want to sum up, in terms of conclusion, what came out from this project is that, yes, it's true, European countries have really a very diverse approach in terms of definition of green jobs, development of green jobs. So there are for sure some discrepancies. And we are aware that there are professionals that need these technical skills, solid technical skills, to respond to the necessities of the renewable energy field and labor market. With the New Way project, we hope that we could contribute to the idea of updating, reskilling the knowledge and the competences of the youngsters involved, thanks to the cooperation among different actors, as said before, and the combination of e-learning and mobility. Over the course of the project, New Wave had an important input from these vet providers and in general stakeholders, because as I said, they were really involved 100% through all 3 years of the project. Without them and without this combination, this ongoing communication and feedback from them, I think the value of the project wouldn't reach the level that it really reached in the end. And we always kept in mind that the transition towards a green economy, yes, it was a huge opportunity, but also a huge challenge. So we tried to answer as better as we could. We hope that the New Way project could be at least an inspiration at local level for our stakeholders at local and regional level, and also for the vet providers that can understand the importance of this transition towards jobs to green jobs. So we really hope that this collaboration between the different parts involved could proceed. It could be, as I said, a starting point for other future projects. I don't know, thank you. Any questions? Yes, of course. Let me see if I have it here. No, unfortunately, I don't have it here. But it should be just www.newwave.org. But I will check and inform you immediately, okay? Because just 1.5 past ago finished, so, but thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Palumbo, for your contributions. Thank you for your contribution. Now we are running out of time. I want to invite here Dr. Violi and Tramontano for conclusions.
Thank you everyone for having attended the transnational seminar on Erasmus Plus and green skills. It's not working? Yes, it's working now, thank you. In the morning, Mr. Ricci, our Inapp expert in the field, told us about the advantages of being involved in the green economy, the added value of having had the opportunity or being enrolled in a vocational education and training pathway, which is developing green skills. And he also told us about the added value of being reskilled for a transition for adults working in the field. And those advantages, from our point of view, from the point of view of the program, I would say, of the NAs that selected the European participants to be here today, those advantages are areas to explore through the program, through the green priority of Erasmus. But which is the perspective? Piero Ciccioli from the CNR told us today, it's a fast sector, and actually it is, and also Engim Torino told us, what are the challenges? It's obsolescence of skills, of products, but in effect it is fast, but it is there, and it will stay there. The perspective is 2023, maybe, as a replay network and Andrea told us. For the next call, it's 2023. It will be there, no doubt about it. But the perspective is also 2027, the end of Erasmus? I don't think so. I can bet. If you want, we can bet. The 2028, 2034 Erasmus program will focus on climate change issues. Do you want to bet? I think you're going to win. But the perspective is not even 2034. I think it's not even the 2030 of the Erasmus UN Sustainable Development Goals, of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, which were just set when Graia started imagining a project, and they got it right. They said, that's the way. Maybe the perspective is 2050, as TCA told us. Because as you know, the Green Deal talks us about the fact that the EU economy has to be climate neutral by 2050. But I'm sure that in 5-7 years, the perspective will go beyond. So if you want to be successful in the program, you can invest your resources in terms of time and of project management skills and of networking and of partner search on the green priority of Erasmus. The Commission is investing high resources also through the ESFR, as you know, through the European Fund for the Regional Development. And in order to maximize the impact, the idea is to foster synergies, complementarities through a new mechanism that probably you heard of, the Seal of Excellence, which will help high quality Erasmus Plus projects not funded due to the lack of resources. As you know, many excellence projects are not funded, could be approved, but unfortunately funds are limited. The Seal of Excellence will help those projects to be funded through the EU cohesion policy and relevant policy lines. As you know, the current EU cohesion policy features an EU greener economy policy objective. And that's the way. So I cannot promise that all the Erasmus Plus projects that will be submitted on the green priority will be funded, but I'm quite positive that they will find a way through the complementarity with the EU cohesion policy, and I can be sure that they can be also further developed and find way. If you keep up with the pace of change, you will find the way through the program. As NA, we will be here to provide you with further possibility to network, to find partners, and to grow together. But the priority will stay there, and it will characterize the new programming period that the EU is currently developing, and the future programs. So investing time and your organizational mission on this issue won't be a lost investment. It will certainly pay off.
Thank you, Valentina. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Valentina, for the very clear conclusion. Just another word to add, the added value of cooperation. You already said it today, and so Erasmus give us the great opportunity to cooperate. Some of you asked us as national agency to arrange other meetings on cooperation on green, but maybe also on other issues. Now I switch in Italian. because I must thank some people. First of all, innanzitutto.
Let me thank Valentina Violi, coordinating the activities in the Agency for Transnational Cooperation, also supported by Michela Volpi. Let me thank the Group for Communication, coordinated by Mrs. Pinardi, and she's supported by Michela Ricciuti, Manuela Cresci. They deserve a round of applause. During this week, they really put lots of effort. Let me thank my agency as a whole, because as I always say, let's try to work as a family, and they have all cooperated to the success of this first event. Let me thank the interpreters. Thank you. My colleague Trani, who drafted the background paper that you found in your folder. Let me thank Dr. Salemi for his constant input in the dissemination of the outcomes of our activities, and I really thank him. Let me thank again the interpreters for the difficult task. Thank the speaker very much. For our technical language and the moderator, Mrs. Barbara Milucci, hope to see you again in our workshops. Let me thank all of you, audience. I've been personally committing to organize events like this, again, hoping that Mr. Ricci on Green Jobs is going to provide us with further updates. I already thanked him for his clarity and the usability of the information he's giving, because sometimes we researchers, I'm a former researcher, I'm about to retire, but sometimes we as researchers do huge things, but we cannot communicate. Instead, Andrea has this huge gift as a communicator. And so thank you all. Wish you a fruitful job. You're pleased to stay at lunch outside in the courtyard. Tomorrow we'll have another seminar, and I hope that those of you within Rome might participate. It's on green again, and I will be pleased that you to participate, because it's going to be a different perspective. And on Friday instead we have a final conference. A first session, it's more institutional, and the second session in which we will see the things that you have been storytelling to us, some performances of the young in the vocational training. I wish you an excellent Erasmus to all of you, and see you soon.
The lunch is ready. To our guests for joining us, and thank you to the audience, to you for joining us too. The lunch is ready. Thanks. See you tomorrow.